One of two things.
In the beginning, in the days, he said, this evening and the morning. The evening out, this settling down. Everything agrees and accepts the idea and the truth of that idea that, well, we are what we are. We can't complain about it. It doesn't do us any good to complain. So everything that was created, plants, animals, bugs, water, sky, moon, stars, planets, suns, everything finally agrees that they are what they are. They've been created. They accept the fact and the truth that I am what I am. I can't be anything else.
At that time. At that time, yes.
Well, throughout all of time. They accept their presence and being.
Right, but also, when he says you must be born again, that was a very powerful statement he made, the most powerful statement of all, because you have to have innocence within you to even be born again, to even enter into the kingdom again, heaven, which you have to have before you even leave this earth.
Okay.
For any hope for heaven.
Yeah, but this is a learning session, not
yes, it is.
Not preaching. Okay, I'm just
talking.
Okay. I know. So am I. But I'm trying to keep the word coming through that the evening, everything settled down, accepting what it is. Okay. And the morning, everything that God created. Because I'm going to read this again, what I wrote here, that so if God has always been, he doesn't have an ending, he doesn't have an end, he doesn't have a beginning, he doesn't have an end, he's absolute, he is, okay? It's not that hard to imagine or fathom once you just accept it by faith. Boom, okay, God is. Let that alone. Stop arguing within your mind and heart about it. Just let it be. Okay? God is. And once we've come to that rationale, that mindset of accepting him as truth, he is, now we can clearly see and recognize and fathom the ideology, the knowledge of it, of why there was the evening, the settling down to agree and accept him, and the morning. Everything is mourning their loss of space and time within God from which they came. They miss him.
Our souls.
And, well, yeah, not only our souls, but I mean the rocks, birds, trees, planets, everything else that he created. They all mourn being in his presence from where they came.
Yeah.
Because it's even written, I think it's in Isaiah, the whole world reels and moans and quakes, awaiting the coming of his son, for one. For two, that ultimate end, Revelation, that it's going to happen. So we see why the evening settling down and the morning missing him. And that's why he created all of these things, because Lucifer fell, and a third of the angels with him, so they're cast into this time and space continuum that we know of as existence. And when God is creating this one world that we live on, that was his full focus, was this world here. Okay, that even before the light had hit the scene, okay, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was upon the face of the waters. Now, in those waters, when he spit, what is spit but water and a bunch of other stuff? You clear your throat, what comes out? Okay, so in that quagmire of stuff, there's all these little. If you were able to get a microscope that could actually, even beyond an electron microscope, something that could get down into the subatomic nuclear area where all things are, okay, you'd see an entire new world of things, but you could, looking through just one amount of spit. It'd take you decades, if not centuries, to finally figure out what's going on, why the entire universe is still growing, because force. He spit. They say when a person sneezes, it travels at 400 miles an hour. I don't know where they got that from, but if that's still the case, then yeah, space is still growing. Why? Because as you sneeze, yeah, eventually your sneeze is going to settle down on things, person, places, and stuff, you know. But tracking every little microbe of that sneeze that extracted out of your mouth, okay, trying to pick up every nodule that came out of your sneeze to find out what aggravated your nasal, your eyes, and everything else to make you sneeze, okay? Trying to investigate all of that. It'd take you a long time to get it all together, if you could even find them. This stuff evaporates in time. But the thing about God's spit, it never evaporated. It grew and enlarged. It says hell has enlarged herself. You mean God's spit is hell? It's what it is.
And hell created it.
And hell is
their own hell.
Well, yeah, but God created hell as a special place, set apart from all of this time and space continuum. Yeah, they say in the Bible it's in the lower depths of the earth and stuff. Well, really, if you look at the earth, what is earth? But God formed man out of the dust of the ground.
Yeah, we got to remember too, why did it grow? Why did it enlarge?
Right.
Because more and more people are resisting the truth, and they're just throwing themselves in there when they die.
And he made it a lasting holding place for anyone and everyone that wanted to put themselves there, because they deny him.
Right. Because
Creator and Lord.
And then until judgment.
And they cannot fathom the idea that why they have such straits going on in their lives, in their minds, and the war between their personality and their soul, because they don't want to step up to the plate of God to accept him fully, that he is the absolute being. And as long as you're in constant contact with him, you're learning and growing and maturing and becoming more and more at peace within yourself, accepting things as stuff happens, stuff is, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So, they don't, if they came to that rationale, they would finally realize why all this stuff's going on in their heart and mind and life, soul, and the world and stuff. Because everything misses being within the very presence, embodiment of God himself. It's how he created us. To miss him. We'd seek his face, to long to hear his voice.
Yeah, I agree.
To know his thoughts about us.
Yep.
Thoughts of good, not evil.
And that's what, with those who are born again, they've realized that so completely that they didn't care about their lives. They just wanted God. Because their lives are in God's hands when you're born again.
Yep.
So they don't even think about that. They just think about God. And that's all the mindset is. It's the mind of Christ.
Right. And so here we are in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 15. I'm just going to pick up there. And the Lord God took the man, he hadn't even given him a name yet, and put him into the Garden of Eden. Put him in there. Because there was in, where is it? Here in chapter 2, verse 5. There was not a man to till the ground, even though God created man in his own image.
This is Genesis,
chapter 2.
Yeah.
And God created them male and female. And then as we had separated it, bringing forth that male and female, created he thems. Okay. God created mankind as a man and a woman. He created them. In the beginning, in chapter 1, okay, he created mankind.
Right.
One man and one woman.
Right.
And they got together, the man and the woman, male and female, they got together and created the heathens, their offspring. Okay? So, and that was on day 6, because day 7, God took a break, took a vacation, whatever, went to Barbados or whatever. I don't know. He's taking a day off. Okay? It was on day 8 that he created Adam, formed Adam. Verse 7, chapter 2, verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground. That was the man he formed to till the ground. Formed a man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And that man became a living soul.
Right.
After, and then God planted a garden eastward in Eden. So he created God created the garden, and he planted the garden in Eden, east of there. Okay, and he put the man whom he had formed. He put him there, and every tree that was pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life, which is innocence, verse 9. That's in the middle of the garden that God created, Eden. And also the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is personality, which man up to that point did not have a personality. It's just tree of life. It's innocence.
They were created perfect.
Yeah. Total trust.
In everything. And that's like a baby.
Yeah.
When you're coming out of the womb, you have no knowledge of evil or good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So he put in there the tree of life. So, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Tree of the knowledge. Okay. From that tree of knowledge, which is the personality, intelligence, is where people get the idea of discernment between good and evil, good and bad, good and evil, whatever.
Discernment comes from God.
And then he put out the 4 rivers from the one river, verse 10. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden. That river doesn't have a name, but that river is the river of life. There's the tree of life, and there's the river of life. And it went out of Eden to water the garden. And from that river, and the water of those to water the garden was the messages of the truths of God to be imparted to the garden, within and encapsulating the entire garden itself. And from there, it was parted into 4 different rivers: Pison, Gihon, Hiddekel, and Euphrates. Okay. But the Lord God, in verse 15, the Lord God took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. To dress it, to address it, as in to accept it. Wow. Okay, this is God's garden. To respect it.
Yeah.
And to keep it. Faithful, holy, faithful, righteous, and true. Yeah.
Reverence.
Yeah, reverence. Exactly right, babe.
Thank you.
Verse 16, and the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. Okay.
Without guilt.
Right. Yeah.
No guilt.
Just innocently eat. Just, enjoy. You're going to get hungry, eat of it. Okay. Verse 17. But of the tree of the knowledge, intelligence, of good and evil, look, you got every tree in the garden, and you trust me because I'm your God. You're my man.
Seat right there.
Right. So, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you shall not eat of it.
Yes, you shall not have Satan's seat within you.
Right. Or the intelligence that goes along with it.
We all do until we are born again.
Because as you believe by the sheer innocence of that belief, absolute trust and faith in whom you're receiving this information from. You believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
Wait on him. Wait on the Lord, it says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Believe his every word and obey it willingly.
Yeah. But of the tree of the knowledge, don't go there. It's on a need-to-know basis. You have no need to know.
Yep.
Get over your bad self. You're not even bad. Just
don't think on sin.
Yeah.
Period.
Because of that knowledge is of good and evil. You don't need to know that.
But when we commit our first thoughts in, that's when Satan's seed begins with us.
And that could be of a lie or of denial.
Yes, exactly. Denial of the truth when they hear it.
Right.
Whatever.
Or denial that you've been caught doing something.
Anything.
Right.
Whatever that first sin is, God knows it.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to be born again.
Right.
Every one of us.
Right. So he says, of that tree, you shall not eat of it. Don't think about it. That's eating. Thinking about it, considering it, that's eating of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just you don't have no need to know. Don't even go there. Mm-hmm. Don't fret yourself, person. For in the day that you eat thereof, in that very self-same moment of that day,
that first sin,
you shall surely die.
Physically
in other words,
and spiritually, eventually. Yeah.
Well, because
right then and there, you're spiritually dead, but you're still gonna, eventually die.
Yeah,
too.
Right. Because you have died away from that garden of
truth, innocence,
absolute truth and innocence, right?
Of God.
Yeah. Holy, faithful, righteous, and true. Yeah.
That's right. Now you got seed in you.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're in the world and of it. No, you're not just in it, but you're of the world.
Right. Verse 18, the Lord God said. See, he hasn't even given him a name yet.
Mm-hmm.
This is day 8. So between day 6, God took his break, and then day 8, that's, if you want to believe in the a day is 1,000 years theorem, okay? Even if you're going to put it on that level of a context of thought, okay, that's 2 days, 2,000 years between when God created man in his image and God formed the man that he put in the garden. That's 2,000 years. That's 2,000 years of the male and female creating the heathens that populated the world. That's where Cain got his wife. End of story. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, Father.
And so verse 18.
Exactly right. And they're not teaching that.
No.
In churches or
they
anywhere.
They want to remain stupid. They think, being stupid is ignorant. Ouch.
Yeah, they think they're going to get a pass into heaven because they claim they're saved. Falsely, they do.
Oh, yeah, because the world says ignorance is bliss. Oh, really?
Ignorance is bliss?
That's what they say.
That's what God says?
No, that's what the world says.
That's what I say. Is that what God says? Yeah. No, it's not. Right. So why would you believe it? Mm-hmm. If Jesus never taught this stuff, why would you believe that?
Right.
Exactly. He's teaching the truth here, and he's teaching the truth through us because we are getting his discernment.
Yeah.
To help you understand it.
Yep. Verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him and help meet for him. Not a help meet. I will make him and help. A helper.
Yeah.
Meet. Correct. For him. Okay. Verse 19. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them to Adam. There's where his name is first pronounced.
Yeah.
Verse 19. Adam. To see what he would call them.
Oh, yeah, Adam.
Yeah. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. So, in the beginning, on day 6, okay, God created them male and female. And the male and female created the heathens, okay. But it didn't say anything where they spoke one thing. It was assumed, but we cannot assume. It not even spoken. Because it says, and he brought them unto Adam to see what he, Adam, would call them.
Yeah.
And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, including the heathens, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle. See, we even see it throughout the other books of the Bible where he's talking about, and I shall separate between cattle and cattle, between sheep and goats, the rams and the he-goats and stuff like that.
Between every single human being.
Right. And Adam gave names to all cattle. So that's why God still considers them cattle, because that's what Adam called them, the heathens. He called them cattle, livestock. Just, they're there, okay?
Even though they're human.
Right. And to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. That's what he, gave names to all of them. But for Adam there was not found an help, meet for him, in consideration equal to, not even close. It's just, there's nothing, not even from the heathens. Okay, there was nothing that could actually speak and converse and communicate with him. So that's why, verse 21, and the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And God took one of his ribs, Adam's ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. Okay, closed up the flesh. So he closed up, because he took one of the ribs, okay, and closed it up, the flesh instead thereof. So where that rib used to be, there's just flesh. I'm sure there's people sitting there trying to figure out where their bottom rib is on the right side and the left side to find out which side he took it from.
All he's supposed to do is believe what he says.
And count him down. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. How's your rents and privates there? You Verse 22. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a man.
Yep.
Womb. Man. A man with a womb.
Yep.
And brought her unto the man.
So there's a female.
Right.
Yeah.
So
woman.
Yeah. So that's the first place where God uses the word
woman.
Her.
Yeah.
As opposed to female.
Female.
Right. So that's discernible word right there. Her.
Compared to female.
Right. Unto the man.
Yeah.
That's why he called them cattle. Because he said, and Adam gave names to all cattle. Adam gave names to all.
Yeah.
And what was that name? Cattle. Whether they walked on 2 legs, 4 legs, whatever. He called them cattle. And to the fowl of the air, and every beast of the earth, beast of the field, my bad. Okay. So.
Well, if he called everything cattle, then why did he call different names to everyone else? Or everything else? Because that's different. He said we go down, and then he, and to the fowl of the air, he gave names unto all cattle, and to the fowls of the air, and to every beast of the field. So he gave them all names.
Right.
So whatever they are called today is what they are, and he was calling them then.
Right.
But why would man be called cattle though?
Because that That's what Adam called them, and that's what God agreed to. Okay. I like that name, cattle. So, because cattle, you're looking at livestock.
Yeah.
Farm animals. In other words, oh, you're talking slaves? Yeah, exactly right. If that's what you want to be called, a slave, fine. Otherwise, cattle agreed with their master. You use them for farm animals. You tilling the field and all these other things that you can have an animal do for you. The animal agrees because you're taking care of that animal. You're watering them, you're feeding them, brushing them down, whatever. You're taking care of them, right? Mm-hmm. They're not slaves. They're not enslaved. Slavery didn't happen until later on. Okay? So if you look at the beginning, and Adam gave names to all cattle, just livestock, okay? They're living beings.
Sure.
They are meat to do work. Because God gave Adam a superior amount of intelligence. So, yeah, he was king of the earth, if you want to put it that way. The new landlord on the block, whatever. But everything agreed with him. The fowls of the air, the beasts of the field. He had dominion over them.
Yeah.
He didn't overlord over them.
Dictator.
No, he wasn't a dictator. They all agreed. Because all the cattle, all the livestock, and fowls of the air and beasts of the field, everything agreed with Adam. Adam agreed with them, they agreed with Adam, because God put it upon Adam with his intelligence, which was of God.
All living creatures.
Right, that they would agree.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the dominion.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he brought the woman that he made and brought her unto the man. So that's where that's where the difference is, because male and female.
Right.
But here it is, man and her.
Right.
Womb man, a man with a womb. Okay. Because female counterparts of the male have a womb.
Yeah, I get that.
Right. Okay. So in verse 23, and Adam said, "This is now." But he realized that point of time. This is now. God gave him that amount of virtuous thinking, forethought, knowledge from God himself. Nothing that man or the tree of knowledge would have ever done, but God gave this to him.
Because they couldn't communicate with each other.
Yeah. This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man.
Right.
She was taken out of man. Oh, let me connect with my female side, with my feminine side. Shut up. That's as gross as it has ever gotten.
Satanic.
Because anything else that might have been in Adam before she was taken, okay. At that point in time, if you wanted to call anything LGBTQ, back in the day of Adam had it all. Even the feminine part he had within him. But because she was taken out of man himself has no feminine side.
No, they don't.
It's because of the woman that we have seen throughout all these generations. Women's live and all this stuff. Oh, why don't you connect with your feminine side? Why don't you shut up?
Yeah.
Take you and your feminine side. Yeah. Why don't you stay with your feminine side, woman?
That's abomination.
Because that feminine side was taken out of man from that day of Adam.
That's the way God formed him.
Right.
That's the way God himself formed man.
Right.
And that's called Adam.
Right. Because man did not have a womb.
No.
Adam didn't have a womb.
No.
But God needed a man with a womb,
Yeah.
but he could only get that womb man from man himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, she shall be called womb man,
yeah.
because she, the entirety of the femininity, was taken out of man. Taken out, as in...
Yeah, as in it never existed.
Right. So,
in man,
yeah,
right.
so man himself did not have a womb.
Right.
All right, verse 24, still in chapter 2. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Mindset. We're still talking about in the Garden of Eden. Innocence is still there. They shall be one flesh.
Yeah, and that's what happens when two people who are born again and they marry. First, they're married to Christ because that's what born again is.
Yeah, because they agree.
They're both married to Christ. They both agree, and then when they get married, they become one flesh.
Yeah, because they agree with the oneness of God, the Christ.
Exactly, and they have to.
Right.
This one flesh doesn't mean because you're married, out of the world, you're worldly people and you just marry like everybody else does.
Right. Just for the sake of having legal sex.
But yeah, that too.
Yeah. But they shall be, not become, they shall be one flesh. Oh, you mean we're going to be super glued together? Try that one on for size. That ought to get good. See how many people run out and get a great big thing of glue and glue themselves together. Stupid. And verse 25, chapter 2, verse 25. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Right. So, it didn't say the male and the female. It said up here in verse 22, brought her unto the man. Okay? And verse 23, because she was taken out of man. There's no femininity in man at all. And shall cleave unto his wife. A man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife. There ain't no female here.
No.
It's wife. And they shall be one flesh. Male and female, that is of the he, them.
And purity.
Yeah. Wife.
Yeah.
Man and wife. It doesn't say husband and wife. It said man and wife. They shall be one flesh.
Yeah, wherever they come up with husband, no one knows.
Right. And verse 25, and they were both naked. The man and his wife, not female. The man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Purity. Innocent. They had no clue who, what, when, where, why, or how they were. They just accepted the fact and the point and the truth of it all, that they existed, and they had no shame.
That's right.
They didn't have any reason to have any shame. Oh, it's this thing frozen. Yep, it's frozen. Shut up. Oh, there it is. Okay. Chapter 3. Oh, this is funny. Isn't it great?